Do not move to Dubai. You will still not listen. You will still want to go. Now, let me tell you something. This Imam came out to talk about every single genocide and every single thing that Dubai has literally been sponsoring according to his video. Not me. I'm not the one that said it. And I'm going to be rolling out the clip so that you guys can also see. And not only him, other people have a lot of experience as well that I was able to stitch together. First of all, credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. You know, when things like this happen, when videos like this are circulating, we need to bring it out here for a lot of people awareness, because the main reason why we're doing this is to educate one another. Now, for disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes. Let's watch and I'll be back with commentaries. I'm so interested.
If you're planning, a holiday to Dubai or the UAE, do not go. Do not go. If you have property there, you have investments there, invest from all those places. Sell whatever apartment you have, sell whatever you have there, don't go there. If you know people who are going there, do not let them go. Tell them, you shouldn't go, you should invest $1 and a dime to these people. These people are munafiqeen, the leaders and the rulers. I'm not talking about the average people. The leaders and the rulers, those people, that's a horn of shaitan. They are the ones that are supporting Israel, and they are supporting, the RSF, they're supporting the genocide in Sudan, they support the genocide in Libya, the genocide that's happening in so many other places. In other places, there was, the country slipping my mind, Yemen, on the border of Yemen. They were supporting the RSF and fighting over there. It's all happening, all the gold. People, Muslims, they go for Hajj, they go for Umrah, they're like, I'm going to go buy gold right there. In Makkah and Medina, people go to Dubai, they go to these places to buy gold. Where's that gold coming from? It sure as hell isn't coming from the desert over there, I'll tell you that much. No, that gold is coming from Sudan. It's coming from there, it's coming from Darfur. As Muslims were being massacred and genocided by these people and by their money.
That's exactly what a preacher is supposed to sound like. Go up there and tell the people exactly what's going on. Boycott these places. If you're going to Sudan, if you're going to Dubai, UAE, vacation, whatever, if you have an investment there, cut it off. Get rid of these people, cut them off. RSF, and it's not Dubai. It is what's it called? Damn it. Abu Dhabi. So UAE is a country made up of different little principalities or whatever, if you want to call them, Emiratis, right? Emirate countries, right? And one of those countries is Dubai. We know the Dubai, it's the most famous. Another one is Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is another one, just like Dubai, is a few miles from Dubai. Abu Dhabi is the main culprit in the war in Sudan. They're the main culprit in the war in Sudan. Abu Dhabi owns Manchester City. That's where Pep Guardiola and his people have been getting all this money to buy Haaland and all of these people. It is because of Sudan. So supporting Manchester City, the Premier League team, you are killing your own African people by supporting that team. Boy, this is exactly how preachers should be. Pastors should be getting up there and saying the same thing. Imams should be getting up there saying the same thing. You should be actually telling people real world situations and how we can fix it, instead of coming up there to tell people, oh, you will marry a white man soon, and suddenly now this one, Allah say you should go and do the fuck, man.
I thought this was a super cute video, but before you get gassed up, try to get your visa and head on over there. When I was over there were a few things I encountered. I didn't feel they were as thrilled with people with darker skin as they were with people with whiter skin. Case in point, my husband is biracial, but looks like he's from everybody's culture, so everybody accepts him. And when we were over there, he was treated well. Specifically, a guy said, oh, dude, you do so well over here. You gotta move over here. And then I said to the guy, about me, would I do well if I moved over here? He looked at me and said, you'd do okay. Another time is when I was going out on a tour. I came out of my room wearing Bermuda shorts and a tank top. The tour guide pulled me aside and said, you should probably put on something more appropriate. So I went back upstairs, put on long pants and a t-shirt, and then also had a scarf so I could cover my head. In the tour group, there were quite a few women from the EU wearing shorty shorts, tank tops, tube tops, and no head coverings, and everything was fine. So even in 2022, there are places where dark-skinned people aren't really that welcome.
You will never catch my black ass in Dubai. Dubai? What the fuck? They gonna kick me there. For real. They regulations on drinking, okay, cool. That's not that serious, but no. It's a no for me. Talking about something, you cannot eat in your car or chew gum in public. Okay? Talking about some no PDA. What? So if I'm with my bitch in Dubai, I can't even hug and kiss my bitch in Dubai. Like, if we was to take a picture, we gotta take a picture like this. Side by side. Don't touch me. What? Then they talking about don't use your left hand. I understand that. You know, because before they had toilet paper, they was wiping their hands, wiping their ass with their hands. You can't dance in public. So all that setting up your tripod, doing a TikTok dance. No. Okay. What? Talking about something. It's considered provocative. You can't cuss. Oh, they gonna lock me up at the airport. For real, I'll be like, fuck, this bitch is beautiful. Seize her. For real. You can't stay in a hotel room with your partner if y'all not married. Go on the fuck head. For real. And the biggest one for me, and it should have been number one, flaunting your homosexuality. Oh, they not even gonna let me through the door. For real. Talking about it's illegal to be gay out there. Oh yeah, I can't go out there. Literally.
Why doesn't anybody take boycotting Dubai seriously? So many comments under that video going, what do you mean boycotting Dubai? Why are we boycotting Dubai? What did Dubai do? My dear, you have two options. It's either A, that you're ignorant. This isn't necessarily a mean thing for me to say about you. Being ignorant is simply that you don't have information, so you are ignorant of the facts. That's option number one. Option number two is that you are indifferent to the suffering of African people, Black people. You have those two options, and you get to pick one. Because what do you mean? What do you mean we're boycotting Dubai? What? And not just Dubai. The United Arab Emirates, where Dubai is situated in. The United Arab Emirates has been helping to fund genocidaires in Sudan by exchanging money for Sudanese gold. Those genocidaires are the Rapid Support Forces, aka the RSF, who are committing a genocide that is basically a continuation of Darfur. You know how we've been saying Free Sudan alongside Free Palestine? Because yeah, I peeped the Palestine flags in a lot of y'all's bios, but you're not aware of the thing in Sudan. And I will also say I've seen so many creators going to Dubai who are super pro-Palestine, and that's all I'll say about that. That said, I do have very complicated feelings about country boycotts, but the thing is, Sudanese activists have asked us to do this, so we do it, even if it's not necessarily morally consistent with everything else that we do. If this is the first time you're hearing about the UAE funding the genocide in Sudan, here are a few creators to go follow. I'll also tag them below. I always tag them in my Sudan videos. I know that they hate to see me coming, but I'm always sending more people their way because they're amazing and they give breakdowns that are easy to digest, and they are Sudanese. So yes, thank you so much.
Did you know that there's actual real ethical and moral reasons why we say don't go on holiday to Dubai? Let me give you one of them. You know the gold that is so famous in Dubai? That's actually not from Dubai. That's from Sudanese mines. Currently in Sudan, there's a civil war happening between the SAF and the RSF, a power struggle where many people are getting murdered or tortured or raped, or so many horrific things are happening to the people of Sudan right now. But what the UAE and Dubai care about is the gold. How do you know that, you may ask me? One of the two groups that are in this power struggle at the moment and committing these atrocities is the RSF. Guess who's been funding the RSF for years? That will be the UAE. Yes. This is why we say don't go on holiday to Dubai. They don't respect human rights.
In Dubai, you can unalive a female member of your family if she disgraces your family and brings dishonor to them, and you will basically face no legal recourse for it. And it's not just Dubai, it's the whole UAE, where women still need a male guardian's permission to travel and make legal decisions. In 2015, a girl called Zainab was unalived by her brother because he allegedly saw her with a man, and he said that he feared that this relationship would bring dishonor to their family. His family backed him, and the court gave him a very lenient sentence because they said there was mitigating circumstances because it was a cultural honor unaliving. In 2017, a woman who moved to Dubai and started her own business was unable to leave the country because her and her husband were having marital problems, and as her legal guardian now, he was allowed to prevent her from travelling. After spending several weeks detained in the airport, her family fighting legally allowed her to return to her home country. In 2018, a girl called Amal got a really great job offer abroad. She wasn't allowed to go because her father, as her male guardian, has to give permission for her to travel, and he didn't. It took her months and months of having to fight legally for her to be allowed to leave the UAE. It is crazy to me when I see women being so excited to move to Dubai because you've just become a man's property. Not to mention that the country literally runs on slave labour.
Now that I touched on to the countries that people should move to, I'm going to tell you the country you should never move to in your entire fucking life. Especially if you are a black person or another person of color, pay attention.
You know, last year I would have said, don't step foot in Italy, bro. But now it's like, they are chill, so go to Italy, but be careful. Go to like Milan or, I don't know, Rome. You know what, just go south. Don't go north, actually. Don't go north, go south, yeah? So, places you shouldn't go is the Middle East, for sure. The UAE, like, I've been saying this since I made my TikTok account. Don't go to the UAE, bro. Like, don't go there. Libya, don't step foot in Libya, bro. That country is... Don't go to Libya. If you are black, don't stop going there, yeah? They recently just unalived the son of Gaddafi, bro. They unalive Gaddafi, unalive his son. Bro, what? Whatever. Don't go to Mauritania. Yeah, these countries. Don't go to North Africa in general.
If you guys enjoy sleeping, do not move to Dubai, bro. Do not do it. Keep in mind, it's 5 a.m. right now, and I'm gonna step out on my balcony, and I want you guys to just hear what I have to hear every single day. I haven't slept in like a week, bro.
People ask me why don't I move to Dubai like a bunch of other influencers in order to save money on taxes. Well, two reasons. One, Dubai has slaves. It's basically modern day slavery. Google it if you don't believe me. Go check it out. Check it out. They have like legit slaves. They got these guys 10, 20 in a room. Sometimes there's rats and roaches running around. They confiscate their passports when they come in from other countries and they can't leave. Now they're kind of in bondage and they're forced to work super low wages and bad conditions. And I can't support slavery out here. Number two, you're still taxed as an American citizen when you make money abroad. Even though the UAE doesn't have personal income tax, as an American citizen, you're still taxed on your worldwide wages. So you would still have to pay taxes in America unless you renounce your citizenship. So instead of becoming an expatriate and supporting modern day slavery, I said, you know what, how about I just make more money so it doesn't affect me as much. And then I look at the cost I pay in taxes as the fee I pay for my partnership with the United States of America. In return, I get roads, clean water, and missiles. Instead of trying to see how you can save as much money as possible, you need to be worried about making as much money as possible. And the way I made my first millions with my online fitness business, I'm actually doing a free training where I'll show you how you can grow your online fitness business, even if you don't have a big following, even if you're not certified, even if you don't have a lot of experience. I'm gonna take you by the hand and give you the entire blueprint, and it's gonna be a live training. Go to the link in my bio right now, click that link and register for the class immediately because it will be filled up soon. You do not want to miss out on this opportunity.
I'm glad after years of propaganda, people have finally come to the conclusion that Dubai sucks. It's a fake city. It's probably one of the worst cities you could go to. First, let's address the elephant in the room. It's a slave city. They contract Southeast Asian men and at times African men to go over there to work, and then once they get over there, they take their passports so they can't leave. And if you even try like arguing with your boss about it or like any of the locals, they'll just send you straight to jail. Like literally like no civil rights if you're an immigrant over there. Two, Dubai has no culture, right? It's kind of advertised as this like playground for the rich. What do rich people hate? They hate poor people. So if you like walk around the streets of Dubai, it's empty. There's no people in the streets talking to each other, no music playing. There's nothing you get out of the experience in Dubai besides, oh, this is where people spend their money. This is where I buy things. Oh, look at all these tall buildings. There's no Dubai culture, right? Like, New York City has culture. Chicago has culture. Tokyo has culture. New Delhi has culture. Like, there's people walking around. You know what I mean? Like, all the people who work in Dubai don't live in the city. They live away from their city, and they all get paid like slave wages. My last point, there is like literally no reason for a woman to go to Dubai because there is someone there currently trying to figure out a way to sex traffic you. You fucking raise your voice at someone, you're wearing the wrong attire, someone lies and say they feel disrespected by your presence, dunzo. They're grabbing you, sending you to jail. Obviously, you're gonna like beg to be like, I don't want to go to jail in Dubai because foreigners get like life in prison for like no reason. They're like, oh, you don't want to go? Okay, well, you have to be my sex slave for the rest of your life or else you go to prison. Or if you got like a homegirl saying like, oh, like I got invited by like this rich guy in this tower, we just gotta like hang out with them for a little bit. Do not listen to her. She is selling you out. Them niggas want to shit on your chest. They wanna piss on your face. Do not go to any rich person party in Dubai, man. Dubai is a fucking fake ass, evil ass city. Fuck Dubai.
Both Dubai and America were built with slave labor, and they both have mega malls.
I am currently in Dubai. That right there is the Burj Khalifa, and I think Burj and I are like kind of a thing now.
I'm going to be honest, at this point especially, if you visit Dubai, I see that functionally as being the same as visiting so-called Tel Aviv. For those of you who haven't seen it already, that video is from content creator Chris Zoe, who took a trip over to the UAE. And if you're like me, he's probably not the first content creator, notable figure, or what have you that has traveled over to the UAE, that has been a tourist, that has shown off how beautiful Dubai is, that has called for people to come. A big reason for that is that the UAE has been engaged in a very deliberate campaign for years to improve its public image through tourism and highlighting how amazing it is to visit. Dubai, in a lot of ways, is built for Western audiences, built by slaves, so that Western tourists can come and see how beautiful and clean and amazing the city is to leave with a public perception of the UAE itself. But the reality of the UAE is much darker and arguably much messier. Focusing purely on its foreign policy, the UAE is what many academics have coined a sub-imperial power, functionally a state that is trying to expand its power not just in the region it inhabits, but very notably and very violently in Africa. Sudan is a really good example of this. The UAE has been actively funding the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, as they have been committing horrific atrocities across Sudan. And their reasoning for doing so is that they're trying to expand their power within Sudan itself and get access to natural resources that exist within the country. That being said, it's critical to note that Sudan is not the first time that the UAE has bloodied its hands in foreign conflicts to advance its own interests. When the UAE and the Saudis were actively engaged in the war in Yemen, the Emiratis were actually sending mercenaries into the country itself, with the UAE even going as far as to fund political assassinations within the country. Those are far from the only two examples, by the way. Those are just the first two that come to mind that I know the most about. I believe they also sent mercenaries to Libya at some point as well, and there are a lot of other examples of the way the UAE meddles in the affairs of Africa and other countries in the region it inhabits. And similarly to the Israelis, the UAE operates functionally as a U.S. military outpost that helps advance not only its interests, but by extension, the interests of U.S. imperialism. This is not to say the Emiratis and the Israelis are one-to-one. There are obviously differences in their state formation and practices, things of this nature, but there's a lot of overlap that I think makes it incredibly uncomfortable to see so many people so willingly going over to Dubai. Because ultimately what the UAE's government wants is for people to ignore the ongoing atrocities it has been complicit in, and instead just visit Dubai, see everything it has to offer, and leave with a public perception. They want to be able to continue advancing their interests, even with all the violence that comes with that. And when big influencers or these notable figures go over to Dubai and show off how amazing it is, they're doing PR for a horrific project. As a result of that, like I said at the beginning of this video, I see visiting Dubai, going to the UAE, and highlighting how amazing it is for business, for tourism, or what have you, as being functionally the same as doing that in so-called Tel Aviv. But yeah, anyway, Chris really sucks for that, but on the bright side, we all get to use this as a learning experience to understand why none of us should do what he is doing. Something worth thinking about, I think. As always, Assalamu alaikum, and have a great day.
Indentured servitude is much too common and normalized in the Gulf Arab world. As someone who grew up in the Middle East, primarily in Gulf Arab countries, I've experienced this phenomenon firsthand, and this process is something that is allowed under the jurisdiction of something called the Kafala system. Now, the Kafala system allows indentured servitude in many ways. One way that this system works out for employers in the Gulf Arab world is that it makes it legal to hold the passport of the worker that you are employing. And many employers in the Gulf Arab world take advantage of this. I've heard endless testimonies from employees of these families talking about how they haven't been back to their home country in years, how they want to go back to see their children or their family, but their employer almost gatekeeps their own passport so that they could never do so. And the way that this is generally accepted in the Gulf Arab world is terrifying. And the work that is being exploited is usually the work of people from countries like India or the Philippines and their many neighboring countries. And in these Gulf countries, people from these countries are seen as the bottom of the food chain. They're almost treated as untouchables within that society. They are being paid pennies and sometimes not being paid at all to endure the abuse of their employers within the home, for their work to be exploited, as even the workers who work outside of the home, in areas such as construction, live in rooms of up to 12 people, basically in squalor, and they're sold a dream that they are going to be able to make enough money to support their families once they get to that Gulf Arab country. But for the most part, when they arrive in these countries, that dream is sold very short. And growing up in this environment and seeing how these people were being treated firsthand always left a horrible taste in my mouth and confused me as to how this could even happen. How anyone could treat another human being, especially their employee, in this way. How when people are given the opportunity to exploit others, they don't even hesitate in taking that opportunity. Instead, they willingly participate in the abuse and in the dehumanization of those who they see as below them.
My aunt just asked me why I don't like Dubai, because I posted something on my story about how you shouldn't support it because of their funding the genocide in Sudan. And two of my family members who live there went, "Oh, if we're going to talk about this, let us just turn off our phones." I was like, "What do you mean turn off your phones?" Like, they were like, "Yeah, we can't. Like they'll hear." I'm like, they'll listen to you? They're like, "Yeah, we don't want to have to leave the country, so we're just going to turn them off." I'm like, you know what? That's why I don't like Dubai, actually. That's it.
I just saw a video that really reminded me why I look at people sideways that want to go to Dubai or have been to Dubai. Dubai is ran off of slavery. Most of the people there are migrants. Like, the country is, I think only 20% of that country is actually like native. The rest of it is like, it's migrants, okay? And they work in like the construction field, the service industry, hospitality, and they got there under false pretenses. So agencies will go to countries like India, Bangladesh, Kenya, Pakistan, and say, "Hey, if you come over here to Dubai, I'm going to pay you twice as much as you make at home, 3 times as much as you make at home. I will get you a work visa. You can send money back home. You'll live like a good life here." They get to the country, their visas are taken from them, their passports are taken from them, and they basically live in a labor camp. They either have to come up with the money themselves to even get there first, or they are sponsored. Then they are indebted to the quote agency that got them there to pay back the money. They are also told, "Hey, we were going to pay you X amount of money, but actually we're not." So they're not making nearly as much as they thought. And they're working in a desert. They don't have their passport because, it was, like I said, it was taken from them. So they can't get back home. And they do not get exit visas, which means they can't just leave. And you're not just going to sit there and walk out, because Dubai is in the middle of a desert. Who is walking across a desert that gets about like 120 degrees? You're not going to survive. So you're working like it's slavery. And they spend the night in labor camps. Like, they cannot afford to live in like an apartment. They live in the slums. So I'm like, when you go to a restaurant in Dubai, when you go to the bar, you're not being served by like a middle-class working person. You're being served by an indentured servant, a slave. The nice buildings that Dubai has, slavery. Okay, people died. I think I read a stat once that was like about 10 people die a week outside doing construction to get those buildings up. I will not be stepping foot in the UAE.
Evidence that migrant workers have been exploited in Dubai and across the UAE, especially under the Kafala system. The Kafala system ties workers' legal status to their employers. That's resulted in migrant workers having their passports confiscated, having their wages withheld, being unable to change their job or to leave the country, and poor living conditions and excessive working hours. The 2023 Global Survey found that 132,000 people are living in modern slavery conditions in the UAE. That's a prevalence rate of 13 in every 1,000 people, making the Emirates one of the worst countries for modern slavery worldwide. And the majority of that modern slavery is centralised in Dubai. That's why I can't support Emirates businesses like Emirates Airlines or buy Dubai chocolate, because I just don't feel comfortable spending money on something that celebrates Dubai or the UAE when there's evidence that they are funding the RSF, which are committing a genocide in Darfur in Sudan, and there's evidence that Dubai itself is built upon
slating Dubai and saying the whole thing is built on slave labor.
Oh yeah, it definitely is, but it's also actually much worse than that. See, beyond the migrant slave labor imported to physically build Dubai, it's also built off the back of war crimes, genocide, and good old-fashioned theft. Hey, did you know that the UAE, which is the country Dubai is in, is actually the second largest trading hub for physical gold in the world, accounting for nearly 1/3 of all global trade? That's impressive. It's also disturbing considering the UAE doesn't have any gold, at least not its own gold, but it is in fact the #1 destination for gold coming out of Sudan, including lots of gold coming from artisanal mining, which is a fancy modern word for slave labor camp. So it seems like their slave labor tendencies are not just the domestic variety. Now, you've probably heard that Sudan are in the midst of a particularly brutal civil war, so the UAE are maintaining access to Sudanese gold by supplying the RSF, the Sudanese Rapid Support Forces, with funds and weaponry, which are then being used to brutalize hundreds of thousands of people and displace millions of people. I think over 10 million people. Of course, the United Arab Emirates are not the only meddlers at play here. In fact, the scope and the nature of the geopolitical involvement in this crisis is frankly mind-boggling. For instance, there's credible evidence that Chinese weaponry has made it into the hands of the RSF via the UAE. Also, British manufactured weapons have been found in the conflict, and they also supply weaponry to the UAE. Saudi Arabia are involved in the conflict, Iran are involved, Turkey are involved. Now, interestingly, Iran and Turkey usually find themselves on opposite sides of geopolitical squabbling, but in this case seem to find themselves pulling on the same side. But then Iran, who provide weaponry to Russia to help them fight the war in Ukraine, in this instance, they find themselves on opposite sides of the conflict. Chad are involved, but then again, accusations say that the gold that's being smuggled out of Sudan into the UAE is happening through Chad, so that's not very surprising. Egypt are involved, but then again, the sitting Egyptian president came to power via military coup assisted and funded by the UAE, so I guess that's not surprising either. The Russians have actual physical mercenary troops from the Wagner Group on the ground in Sudan fighting alongside the RSF. And the Ukraine has special forces on the ground fighting against the Russians. And the reason for the Russian presence is because of Western sanctions on the Russian economy due to the war in Ukraine, so they need gold to prop up their economy and keep it from collapsing. Now that one's particularly interesting because that means that if the West were to apply apply collective pressure on the United Arab Emirates to stop arming this conflict, it wouldn't just be likely to end the war in Sudan, it would also be likely to end the war in Ukraine, or at least make it significantly harder for Russia to keep funding the war effort. So why doesn't that happen? Well, I have a few guesses. There's the classic cynical response that politicians don't actually want to end conflicts because they're very well aware that funding conflicts is one of the financial cornerstones of a global economic infrastructure that is hugely beneficial to multi-trillion-dollar financial entities that fund those very same politicians. But beyond that, or perhaps intertwined with that, is the Western world's financial ties to the UAE. I mean, I said earlier that the UK supplies weapons to them, but their largest weapon supplier is the United States. Israel is a major supplier. France is a supplier. Sweden supplies weapons to the UAE. And that's just the weapons trading, right? There's oil trading. They're famous for that. And obviously, the gold. There's the gold trading. I mean, the problem here is we're all in bed with each other. And that's just national conflicts of interest. There's also personal conflicts. Like Donald Trump is investing personally. He has plans to build a skyscraper hotel resort in Dubai by 2031. Not to mention the billions of dollars worth of crypto money that Donald Trump has somehow magically made in the last less than 1 year. Look, this money has to come from somewhere, right? When you make this much money, somebody else has to lose it. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time believing that billionaires are making the exact same bad investment over and over and over again in a way that just so happens to personally benefit the most diplomatically powerful human being on the planet. I think they might be just losing their money to him on purpose, which would be bribery. It's invisible bribery. Allegedly, of course, this is speculative. I can't prove that that's true, nor can I prove where the money is coming from. That's kind of the point, right? But if it were up to me to venture a wild guess, I might start with, like the few human beings on the planet that we know for a fact have access to billions of dollars of disposable, invisible funds. And yeah, that's another country I can probably never visit now. The world gets smaller every 2 or 3 videos I make. Not that I'd ever actually want to visit. I mean, this is essentially a giant shopping mall in a desert, which is like the 2 worst things in the world combined into one. Why would anyone...
Anyways, that's all I got for this video. And the truth of the whole matter is, even with all of this information that a lot of people have, people will still choose to explore. People will say, you that is not going, you don't have money. I've literally seen videos of people saying that if you don't have money to go to Dubai, stop saying that Dubai is not a fun place. Stop saying that UAE is not places that you should tour, that you literally do not have money. Just say that you do not have money. It's not only boiling down to people not having money. Now, let me explain something about this RXF. Now, why I am explaining and why I have much information is because I've done a video like this on my TikTok handle where I literally explain in details about this RSF. Now, RSF are people that are literally suffering Sudan. Do you get? And I don't want to start mentioning countless videos that were circulating online, but now there is this particular terrorist called Ablulu. Now, Ablulu has proudly come live brag, and he said that he is going to literally keep on aliving Sudanese, right? Keep on aliving them until God knows when. Like, this guy is a terrorist to the point that before this guy will literally unalive someone, he will have to bring it on live for you to see. He will tell them, oh, talk to your children. There is no one that pisses me off, that brought me down to my down earth, compared to the one I saw, a woman and her 3 children, where she was literally begging him and telling him, instead, do this to me. Leave them, take them and just go. But still, it still happened, right? And this is not me saying you should not go to Dubai. This is not me saying that Dubai is not a fun place. This is not me saying that, oh, everything that this Imam say is absolutely right. But to some extent, I feel like this Imam will not just come up and just forge jeans, and other people that I was able to as well stitch in this video. You can hear from their own point of view as well what has literally transpired during the time of being there. Like he said, it is not just about the majority there or blah blah blah. It is just the people that are sponsoring all these things. And let's just be honest, they make this place look as if all the whole gold on this earth, if not from there, we can literally not get it. Why at the end of the day, this gold is from other places. Daha, Sudan. Do you get? It's from other places. And it is now looking more like, if not only Dubai that we can buy gold from, if not only Dubai that we can go on top, if not only Dubai that we can do this or do that, there is no way. It's crazy. Let me make this clear again for disclaimers. I'm not saying that you should not go to Dubai. I'm not saying that forget about Dubai. But if you listen and you look out by yourself, the disadvantage and advantage of moving to UAE, all of these Arab Emirates countries, you will know that there is more disadvantage to the advantage. Look at the genocide and so on that has actually been happening in Israel, Gaza, and so on and so forth. You can hear this Imam literally saying that some of these people sponsor this. They sponsor it. They make your own country to be on Durex, while theirs is at peace. And theirs, they will tell you it is predominantly a Muslim area or a Muslim country. But in between, they keep pulling out fire. And it's not making sense. It's not making sense. But anyways, if you have more information to this, let us know in the comment section. Disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes only, and everything said in this video is allegedly, not to said I have like a full fact about every single thing. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section, and credit belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do it, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing my videos, dropping super thanks, joining my membership, also supporting this channel by sharing. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yeah, if you've gone to Dubai, you have any experience, let us know in the comment section. Is it a sweet, bitter experience? Are you still looking forward to still go to Dubai? Do you think we should still go and not boycott? Just let us know. Bye for now. I love you guys. Mwah.